Tara Lynn with 5 Acres Honey Farm. It is a pretty much close to 70-degree January day, and I am taking advantage of the warm weather and the mild forecast to both check inside the hives, but also to move them back. I'm planning on moving the hives back about 2 feet from where they are right now, because we're going to start building my high tunnel, and that'll kind of give us a little bit more space, and it'll be a little bit easier to access once growing season begins and the bees really take off in the warmer weather. And the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to move the hive stands so that they're more of in like a C or a U shape, depending on how you're looking at it. We had a speaker at our county beekeeper association a few years ago. I think it was 2 years ago, because I intended to do this a year ago, so I knew about it then, and I didn't get a chance to move the hives around last January when they're at their lightest, and after that they just got too heavy, so I've been waiting for this moment to move them around. And the speaker had shared research that showed that there's less drifting between colonies when they're in that kind of a pattern. And drifting, if you're new to beekeeping, is when bees from one colony drift into another colony. And a lot of things can happen then. You can transfer diseases, parasites, and pests, and you're also kind of losing your foraging workforce if they happen to be going back to the quote-unquote wrong colony. So I noticed in this past year, where I was a lot more cognizant and active with monitoring Varroa, is that the colonies on the outer edges of the hive stands, which are all in a line, had the highest number of Varroa. So that might indicate that they're, drifting closer to the ends. So I'm curious if next year, with the different pattern of their hive stands, if that continues. And then the other thing that I'm going to do is just make sure that the colonies all have enough food, that they still have a sugar brick. And the one colony that looked like it really wasn't there when I checked them on the solstice, I'm going to take a closer look at that one and see if there's anything left in there. So I'm going to head over there and carry all my supplies over, and we'll take a look. I just went in all the hives and moved them back 2 feet from where they were, and I did lose the one hive that I expected that I would be losing. But as you can see, I started to set them up in a bit of a C shape. The one on the far right is the one that didn't make it, and I just have their medium set up so the other bees can take the resources from there. And I can kind of see where the high tunnel is going to be in the garden, and I really like this new open area, and having that extra space is going to be a good help as we start to build the high tunnel. And unfortunately, I did lose this one hive, but the bright side of this is that I have one less hive to take care of, and it is just more motivation to be much more proactive with Varroa monitoring, which I was this past year. It was a lot better than in the past. So I am happy that it's just one hive being lost, and that I'll be, hopefully, the rest will make it through the winter. But look at like how this is all set up now. So my little bench over there, I just want to sit down and have a cup of coffee and watch the bees, and they are just so active today. It's really, really good to be out here. I really missed it. Take a look at this. We're just 2 days into January, and look at all these pollen pants. The girls are just bringing in all this pollen, which is amazing, unexpected to see so early in the year. And wondering if it's going to be a sign that the queen, at least in that colony, will start building up sooner than expected. So I'm going to keep an eye on the forecast, and I might be out here again in the next few weeks to check on brood, because I haven't checked on that since sometime in November. So we'll see how those populations keep growing. I am just sitting on my bee bench, imagining having a cup of coffee right now, and I love this view so much. Okay, I just finished putting everything in the freezer except for the 2 mediums that are out there. I just don't have enough space in the freezer, and I figured since the weather's been pretty nice today, I'll just leave it out for another day and let the bees take what they want. And it's supposed to be kind of close to freezing the next night or two. So early one morning, I'll go out and I'll grab both of them. And by that time, the equipment that I have in the freezer will have been in there long enough where I can take it out, and I'll be able to, freeze whatever honey and nectar remains in there. And as I start checking in on the hives in the coming weeks, as it gets warmer, I can see if anyone needs any food. And instead of having to make syrup, I can just give them the food that the other bees have collected. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.